Good evening and welcome to Nationwide Today on the network service of the NTA. I'm Elizabeth Omori with the news. Now let's begin with the presidency. President Muhammadu Buhari has received an audience from President Goodluck Jonathan in furtherance of sustained efforts at finding lasting solutions to the political crisis rocking the Republic of Mali. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that Dr. Jonathan is the ECOWAS Special Envoy and head of mediation mission to the West African states.
This is the second time in 1 month President Muhammadu Buhari is formally engaging his immediate predecessor, Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, on the political situation in Mali. The meeting is described as corollary to efforts by ECOWAS leaders towards restoring stability to the West African nation. President Muhammadu Buhari and 4 other ECOWAS leaders had visited Bamako, Mali last month, followed by a virtual extraordinary meeting of the sub-regional body, which came up with far-reaching measures aimed at normalizing the situation for sustainable democracy and development. Former President Jonathan, who was in Mali last week, recounted to President Muhammadu Buhari his meetings with the stakeholders and other important personalities critical to peace and cohesion in the country, amongst them political and religious leaders, as well as ambassadors of the United States, France, Russia, Germany, and the European Union. The main opposition group, M5, he however said, continued to insist on the resignation of President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta, a position that will not be acceptable by either ECOWAS or any international organization, including the African Union and the United Nations. Former President Jonathan, however, said the Constitutional Court had been reconstituted and inaugurated while vacancies in the Supreme Court had been filled, thus sorting out the judicial arm of government. President Muhammadu Buhari thanked Dr. Goodluck Jonathan for his efforts, especially the stamina he displayed on the Mali issue, but cancelled further consultations with the ECOWAS chairman, President Mahamadou Issoufou of the Republic of Niger. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
To the Judiciary now, implementing the autonomy of the Judiciary as an arm of government is crucial to the political and economic development of Nigeria. Chairman of Nigeria Governors Forum and Ekiti State Hemsman Dr. Kayode Fayemi, who made this remark, also advocated speedy implementation of the autonomy across board to fast-track justice delivery. Kola Adebobuyi reports.
The Nigerian Bar Association, NBA, and other executive members were at the Government House at Ekiti to familiarize with the governor and solicit his support towards achieving laudable programs of his administration, including enthronement of rule of law and quick dispensation of justice.
We hit the ground running from day one, and we take the issues one after the other and actually deliver. We want a Nigerian Bar Association that works for all being our members and the rest of society.
Governor Fayemi, who congratulated Mr. Akwata on his victory, reiterated his readiness to work closely with the association in entrenching justice in the land. The governor advocated speedy implementation of autonomy of the judiciary to enhance activities of the sector and fast-track justice for all.
In this position, there are many issues that you will have to deal with. One of the issues we've been grappling with, which would be of interest to you, is Executive Order 10. Which relates to judicial autonomy, as you know. And let me state for the record that governors all over Nigeria are for judicial autonomy.
The state government and the NBA have now agreed to collaborate on human rights issues such as implementation of gender-based violence, GBV Act, to rid the society of crimes. In Ado Ekiti, Kola Adebobuyi, NTA News.
To political matters, Director General of the Progressives Governors Forum, Salih Mohammed Lukman, has appealed to APC leaders to respect one another in the process of finding a lasting solution to the internal crisis. Addressing journalists at the forum's secretariat in Abuja, the Director General acknowledged the pivotal role being played by leader of the party, President Muhammadu Buhari, particularly in creating a liberal environment within the APC. He says it is the responsibility of the progressives to be active in activities that will enable APC retain its glory always.
All our leaders, and Comrade Shimole inclusive, should please try and support President Buhari to ensure that the problem of this party is resolved. We are not God. It's only God that is perfect, that he can set out from the beginning to have an unhindered, problem-free exercise. This, especially on issue that is going to be contextual, is going to be contested. So anything could happen. But at the moment, I'm confident they are working, and I am absolutely sure they will begin to address this problem in not too distant time.
He expressed absolute confidence that the Maimala Boni-led caretaker and extraordinary National Convention Committee has the ability to reunite members. Now, beyond widespread public perception that the Presidential Special Public Works Program is transient, the National Directorate of Employment, in an interface with some leaders of the APC Northwest Zone, has given context to the far-reaching benefits of the scheme. NTA Fine-Face reports that mitigating rural-urban migration in a sustainable manner is one of the 7 objectives behind the initiative.
When members and leaders of the All Progressives Congress APC converge, politics and leadership are likely items on the menu. But this visit of the zonal management of the APC Northwest to the National Directorate of Employment is for other serious business, politics aside. It's a form of campaign, not for votes, but jobs.
The government cannot accommodate everybody when it comes to issue of employment. But this administration has initiated a lot of projects of employment empowerment opportunities.
Equipped with presidential vision, backing and required funds, the NDE is already on course.
One of the promises made to Nigerians youth by Mr. President is to provide employment.
For the Director General, it is time to unravel the 7-pronged objectives of the Special Public Works Program, which include increased funds to drive microeconomy, community supervision of government physical assets, and transmutation of beneficiaries to agricultural extension workers.
Wherever these young men and women are engaged, we send our team to preach, to talk to them on the importance of managing their meager resources so that they can move forward in their various businesses. If you're a farmer, by the time you have 60,000 naira, you can use part of it to buy water pumping machine so that you can move forward.
Preparations are on course to commence the program in October this year. NTA Fine-Face, NTA News.
Lagos is our first port of call on Nationwide today, and Dotun Ogunyeme will be our guide. Hello, Dotun.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Global economic projections for 2020 crashed like a pack of cards in March when the coronavirus outbreak was declared a pandemic by the World Health Organization. That development set the tone for adjustments in every sphere of human endeavor. Becky Madujemu has an overview of the changes that have occurred in Nigeria since the first quarter of the year.
When the COVID-19 pandemic first stepped into Nigeria in February, it was received like an uninvited guest who had come to wreak havoc on lives, given the level of calamity it brought upon China, the epicenter, and other countries initially affected. Fear pervaded the country, and precautionary measures were put in place, even as information about the deadly disease was still sketchy. Individuals were immediately taught how to protect themselves against getting infected. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control rose up to the challenge of managing the situation. Health personnel were equipped for the task ahead. The federal government had to make the drastic decision of shutting down the nation, announcing a total lockdown of the economy. No one was allowed to travel. Nigeria stayed indoors. The COVID-19 pandemic had humbled ambitions and aspirations. While in seclusion, people learned new habits bordering on hygiene. Lifestyle was all about boosting personal immunity, and attitude meant adhering to strict COVID-19 protocols for safety.
To eradicate coronavirus itself, we should do more of washing of our hands, keeping of social distancing, using our face masks.
On a broader scale, isolation centers sprang up across the country. The federal government ramped up testing in all local governments. New cases emerged daily. Much as there were recoveries, deaths occurred. With the increasing number of confirmed cases and deaths, Nigerians have stayed committed to keeping the deadly virus at bay. Wearing of face masks in public remains compulsory. And with the eased lockdown, most sectors have reopened. Schools are back in session to an extent, while religious and worship places that were shut for more than 3 months are now open to members, but with strict guidelines.
The gates of hell or corona can never prevail against it. So we're very, very elated, and we thank God.
We will not allow old people, those above 65, we will not allow them, and children below 15.
Although life may seem almost back to normal and people are less apprehensive, the future is what majority are optimistic about. All eyes are on medical researchers, hoping that before the epic year 2020 ends, there would be a cure for a virus that will never be forgotten. In Lagos, Becky Madujemu, NTA News.
Security and safety are important aspects of human resource development in the transportation sector and basic requirements for global best practices. This informs the training of personnel of the Nigerian Railway Corporation on modern screening procedures and security management. Joyken Abakoya reports that the 5-day training is in collaboration with the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria.
Through the years, securing lives and property has been a priority of government. New strategies and modern facilities are frequently employed for these objectives. Elizabeth and Samuel are both People Human Resource Officers of the Nigerian Railway Corporation. Their operation before now was just a daily routine, but with this training, safety and security cannot be compromised.
We've learned a lot on how to use these things, how to identify threats, materials or items, explosives, weapons and all.
Proper security consciousness or awareness, they say security is everybody's business.
The Managing Director, Nigerian Railway Corporation, stated that the training is necessary to strengthen public confidence in rail travel.
Before now, we don't have something like walk-through scanner in our stations. We don't have luggage scanners, so we're not introducing them. So because the rate of insecurity has heightened, we need to be up to date.
We are adding value to what they already know, and in many aspects, and we've introduced them to the basics, and equally have gone further to teach them some of the rudiments of safety, security, and facilitations.
The synergy between the Nigerian Railway Corporation and the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria on Capacity Building and Human Development Initiative began in 2017. In Lagos, Joyken Abakoya, NTA News.
Achieving proper food security, safety, and sufficiency in Nigeria require the use of modern scientific techniques, including genetic engineering, to improve plants, animal, and microorganisms for human consumption. Environment experts outlined these at an open forum on the role of editors in communicating biotechnology in Nigeria, which held in Lagos.
Nigeria is a country with more than 200 million people with daily food demands. Available literature, however, reveals that while the population is growing at a geometric rate, food production is growing at arithmetic rate. Therefore, the need for adequate and systematic approach towards bridging the food supply gap is essential. To this end, policies and programs that will mitigate the effect of climate change on agriculture, as well as encourage food safety and mass production to match the growing population, is recommended.
We have a lot of research institutes across the country. We have people who are working, and the products, we're supposed to enjoy those products to a large extent.
This forum seeks to address challenges associated with climate change and profile solutions in the agricultural sector and food processing in the country.
All Nigeria has responsibility to make sure that any genetically modified organism, before it is released, either for commercial purpose or into the environment for planting, risk assessment is carried out, and we also ensure that these processes go through due diligence and the products are safe to the environment.
Climate change is the utmost ecological menace that harmfully affects the yield of crops and animals. The primary causes of climate change is the accumulation of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, resulting to increased greenhouse effects. However, experts advise Nigerians to embrace the use of genetic modification technology to mitigate the effects of climate change for enhanced agricultural productivity in the country. In Lagos, Joy Ken Abapoya, NTA News.
And that's it from here. It's now back to Elizabeth in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Thank you so much, Dr. The Buhari Media Organization has acknowledged the series of positive steps being taken by President Muhammadu Buhari in recent weeks through the Central Bank of Nigeria to stem the negative impact of COVID-19 on local businesses. The organization, in a statement, says the moves have been targeted at making life easier for Nigerians during the pandemic, as well as prepare the citizens for economic boom post-COVID-19. It is specifically cited the economic stimulus package of 3.5 trillion, which government plans to disburse through the CBN as part of efforts to provide what it calls low-cost liquidity to businesses and households as the economy gradually reopens. The BMA pointed out that as at mid-August, CBN has succeeded in disbursing over 152.9 billion naira to the 1 trillion naira targeted support for the manufacturing sector, while out of the 100 billion healthcare support funds, 26.278 billion naira has been disbursed to fund 20 projects. The statement says apart from the disbursement of 41.41 billion naira to 11,613 beneficiaries under the Agribusiness Small and Medium Enterprise Investment Scheme, these facilities were given at a concessionary interest rate of 5% with a view to arresting the negative impact of COVID-19, including job losses and other losses that businesses may have incurred due to the lockdown. The group also reassured Nigerians of President Buhari's readiness to revitalize and recapitalize on the global COVID-19 crisis to build a more resilient economy. Meanwhile, a civil society organization with the name Vanguard for the Protection of Rights of Citizens in Nigeria wants the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, to be reverted to the direct control of the presidency. The group staged a peaceful protest at entrance of the National Assembly to drive home their demands. Kenneth Nani reports.
It is not unusual to see this kind of crowd or group of people besieging the entrance of the National Assembly in support of one good cause or in protest against any perceived injustice. For this group, they believe the National Assembly is the nucleus of democracy and their demand will receive the required attention, of which they have also inscripted on the lines in their placards.
The group, in its demands, believe that the return of the commission to the presidency will curb corruption in the system and bring about desired development in the region, while culprits are brought to justice.
The monies that are being sent, into the pipe of the Niger Delta is so bogus that we cannot, keep looking while this money is going down the drain. That's what we're asking the federal government to revert it back. It was better then than what we're seeing today. We're not saying no, just return it to the presidency and that's all. whoever that solely is in corruption should be dealt with appropriately and accordingly.
The human rights group is also supporting the probe of the commission by the National Assembly and says it has submitted its letter of demand to President Muhammadu Buhari through the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
Let's shift attention to the creative industry. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed has inaugurated a 5-man implementation committee post-COVID-19 for the creative industry. Anthony Forson tells us more.
The 5-man committee has the Director General, National Council for Arts and Culture, Otumba Olusegun Nshawe, as chairman. Their terms of reference include designing an implementation plan on immediate and short-term relief for the creative industry in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, design a policy framework for tax relief for various sectors in the industry, as well as work out a long-term intervention for the overall development. Inaugurating the committee, Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed said the report, which they are about to come up with its implementation modalities, is a comprehensive document.
We have indeed studied the report, and I can tell you that it is nothing short of phenomenal. The committee went beyond the call of duty to do a thorough forensic audit of the creative industry, like it has never been done before.
He was quick to oblige the committee an extension beyond the 6 weeks time frame.
I have no doubt that this implementation committee will approach its assignment with a great sense of duty, realizing that the development and growth of the creative industry, which is the second biggest job creator after agriculture, rests on their shoulders.
Chairman of the committee, Otumba Olusegun Nshawe, while commending the minister for recognizing the sector in the COVID-19 era.
And for us as a nation, the Honorable Minister has woken up the consciousness in us to see what this sector can contribute. And I can also say it here, that this champion and boost the wealth of every individual in a nation like ours.
The creative industry in Nigeria has the capacity to contribute immensely to the nation's GDP if properly harnessed. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
You're watching Nationwide on NTA. Let's take a break now. More reports ahead when we return. To stay with us.
ATV College Jos, an affiliate of Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, is currently admitting students for its ordinary diploma programs in television journalism, television production, and television engineering. Interested candidates are advised to obtain relevant information concerning eligibility at our website at www.ntatvc.edu.ng or marketing department of any NTA station nationwide. For further information, contact Assistant Director, Marketing, NTA TV College Jos on 0803-314-4383 or the Academic Office of the College on 0806-980-9807. Announcer, Registrar.
And NTA say you can help Nigeria to flatten the curve on COVID-19, just as you can help flatten the curve on corruption. Follow transparency, accountability, and integrity just as you follow health guidelines. Stay home with integrity and maintain your distance from corruption, just as you stay away from COVID-19 by maintaining social distance. Report every act of corruption to ICPC, just as you report COVID-19 to NCDC. Stay away from corruption, stay safe from COVID-19. contribution to ICPC on toll-free number 0800-2255-4272. This message is brought to you by ICPC and NTA.
Thanks for staying with us. To COVID-19 update now, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control has confirmed 470 new cases of COVID-19 in 17 states. Out of the new cases, Lagos has 207, Kaduna 44, Ondo 38, Abia 28, Anambra 21, Plateau 20, Bauchi 13, while Oyo and Ebonyi states have 9 new cases each. Other states with new infections are Delta and Edo with 7 each, Enugu 6, Niger 3, Gombe 2, Ogun, FCT and Kano states have 1 new case each. Nigeria has 49,485 confirmed cases, with 36,834 of them discharged, while 977 of the patients died of the virus. A 3-day training program for special advisors and technical assistants to ministers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has come to an end in Abuja, with a charge on participants to have a common approach to the federal government's growth agenda. Chimobi Walter Naji reports that the event was organized by the Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning in conjunction with an international partner.
To ensure uniformity of purpose among all ministries and the federal government's new medium-term National Development Plan 2021 to 2025, the just concluded 1-month training of special advisors and technical assistants was to inspire a team spirit among the special aides to foster an interministerial working relationship to key into the growth agenda of the government.
During the 4 weeks that this training lasted, I am sure that apart from the enhanced participants' operational capacity, skills and managerial ability, we also delivered a program that has further built participants' knowledge in highly specialized areas of law and justice, as well as develop their technical knowledge in judicial administration.
To make sure the aim of the training is achieved, the facilitators engaged the use of various management models to equip participants with global best practices in addressing management challenges.
Looking at the challenges present and the challenges ahead, no ministry alone will be able to solve the various problems in Nigeria. Many of the issues are interconnected. In order to overcome the existing challenges and the challenges ahead, interministerial approaches will be necessary.
This training was part of government's engagements with state governments, civil societies and organized private sector in carving a post-COVID-19 response for economic development. In Abuja, I'm Chimobi Walter Naji, NTA News.
Think, create and add value are the guidelines to successful job creation and business services. These resonate with an ensemble of youths on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria today. Ekemini Williams has details.
Oluchi, Christy Peters, Mayowa Shotimei and Jide Oshoniyi are some Nigerian youths leveraging the coronavirus pandemic to become employers of labor. Okereke Oluchi Blossom is a foodstuff entrepreneur. She and her colleagues are driven by technology to explore areas of opportunity, including fashion and healthcare. For these youths, passion and necessity are major drivers to think out of the box.
I've had people from the embassy, US embassy, contact me to supply them. And how did I get such coverage? It's just online. Don't just start up something because maybe you're broke right now and you just want to make some small funds. I think thinking long term really helped me a lot, because I look at it like someday I'll probably have a supermarket that is only food stuff.
So we have a product which is called Smart Clinic. You talk to your doctor via the mobile app and you don't even get to see the doctor at all. The only time you get to the hospital is mostly when you want to do a lab test.
They noted the get-rich-quick mentality among their peers, attributing the trend to negative influence by social media. As a response, they advised the unemployed young population to learn from their own experiences.
We're a group of developers, so we didn't really need too much funds. Like we had to go broke, because what we have is actually our software. We have our computer and we have our code. So all he had to do was he had connections with these hospitals. So he just went around, I have an app and I think you like it. I think you should see this. It's EMR, it covers everything within your hospital.
You know, you should start small. Everybody should start small, depending on how much you have.
But I think it's not basically most of your fault because of the system and all that. Peer pressure. I know they want to actually live in what they see on Instagram.
So earlier on in my business, I tried to employ people. And then I'm like, okay, this is the time for the interview. Please be there at this time. And as the interviewer or the business person, I was there earlier on. And you won't believe that it was until I got there that I started getting calls of, I may not be able to make it at this time. Or, please, can I reschedule for another time? And getting this from fellow young people like me really was very absurd. I feel like discipline is very important for you to be able to start up and see something through.
Okereke Oluchi equally suggested a 50-50 balance between theory and skill sets development in the country's educational system. The young entrepreneurs also advised their peers to engage in productive online research to leverage possible opportunities. In Abuja, Kebbi Williams, NTA News.
Director General of the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Malam Yakubu Ibn Muhammad, has announced the procurement of some equipment for NTA Loring to lift the station back to strength following the July 22 fire that ravaged 5 offices in the station. The DG is currently on a solidarity visit to the station to assess the extent of damage and commiserate with the management and over the sad event. Malam Yakubu also paid a visit to the governor of the state, Abdurrahman Abdurazak, and will also be visiting the Emir of Ilorin, Alhaji Ibrahim Sulu Gambari. He advised the staff to not despair, but work harder to put the station back to shape. For more reports on Nationwide, let's now join Agatha in our Benin studio. Hello, Agatha.
Elizabeth, welcome to Benin. Students in Ekiti State are optimistic that despite the short period to prepare for the West African School Certificate Examination due to COVID-19, they will pass the exam. Yemi Dalemo visited some schools in the state capital and reports that COVID-19 safety guidelines were observed. His report is here presented.
The students, before being allowed into the examination hall, observed the hand-washing protocol and were on face masks even as they write their examination. Some of the students are optimistic that with the online lessons and personal preparations, they will come out with good grades.
We had a lot of days to prepare during the holiday and a week before the exam, so we would pass excellently well.
The school organized a webinar for us where the SSTU students interact with the teachers.
I read during the lockdown.
For principals and invigilators in school visited, government support for schools to ensure safety of students is commendable.
They supported us, they gave us some items to cushion the effect.
The ongoing examination is expected to come to an end on 12th of September this year.
Talking politics now, reviving the College of Education in Abuja and rehabilitating the Benin Abraka Road are part of the development plans of the APC candidate for the Edo governorship election, Pastor Sage Zeyamu. He was addressing supporters in Oriomon local government area, while the PDP candidate is taking stock of the journey so far in Edo North Senatorial District as the party concludes campaign in the district. Here are details.
Oriomon is the local government area of the APC candidate, and visit of the campaign team to Abuja, the headquarters, was a defining moment for the supporters. He assured the people that they will enjoy good roads, water, medical care, electricity, and job opportunities if he is elected. candidate also took his message of good governance and moving Edo forward to Oedo local government area at a rally in Ekewa. Meanwhile, the PDP has concluded campaign tour in Edo North Senatorial District with visit to Imekwi, Ward 6, Awoyemi, Ward 5, Afokwila, Ward 7, and Ward 8, all in Ukwila, where the candidate promised to prevail on the cement factories in the area to allocate certain percentage of employment to youths.
We will do a primary healthcare center so that women when one born, enough they look for hospital. September 19th is a day you have to make a decision.
Taking stock of the 2 weeks campaign tour, the candidate says he's impressed with turnout and reception accorded him.
It also afforded us the opportunity to hear from them direct the impact of government policies on their lives and in their communities.
The campaign team visited 64 wards in the 6 local government areas in the senatorial district. In all the campaigns, it was observed that social distancing guideline was not adhered to and only a few supporters had the face mask on.
And that's it from here. Elizabeth, it's back to you.
Thank you so much, Agatha. Let's now talk security. Troops of Operation Wild Punch has eliminated several bandits in an encounter at Tashankari in Niger State. The coordinator, Defense Media Operations, Major General John Enenche, in a statement said the success was in continuation of aggressive clearance operation to rid the north central of criminal elements as the troops acted on credible intelligence on the activities of bandits' attack. Major General John Enenche notes that sadly the troops suffered 3 casualties while 2 others were injured in action. Now, ahead of World Humanitarian Day, the humanitarian community in Nigeria is calling on the international community to dedicate more resources in protection of the lives of humanitarian workers in the Northeast. This is part of concerns aimed at improving service to humanity amidst violence in the coronavirus pandemic. Benny Adams has this and more from an interaction with the humanitarian community in Abuja.
Few weeks ago in Maiduguri, 5 humanitarian workers from State Emergency Management Agency as well as 3 international aid organizations were abducted and killed by unknown armed groups. This number is part of 1,009 attacks against health workers and facilities last year, resulting in 199 deaths and 628 injuries. A situation the World Health Organization describes as worst ever to be meted on a people seen as real-life heroes, committed to putting others' lives ahead of theirs amid violence. This in addition to frontline workers in the fight against COVID-19.
Strict adherence and implementation of the Geneva Conventions by all parties to a conflict in the region will greatly reduce the attack on aid workers and improve access to humanitarian assistance.
Within both the NGO community as well as within the United Nations, there are a series of risk mitigation measures that we put in place.
For the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, the celebration is twofold, as her call to minister as a humanitarian worker is a year old.
We are also working on a policy framework that will outline or address all these issues of humanitarian workers, their safety and their protection.
Participants at this roundtable did not stop at eulogies, but made commitments to safety of aid workers, resettling and reintegration of internally displaced persons in safety and dignity, in addition to a minute silence in honor of those who had to pay the supreme price for their love for humanity. With this year's theme, Real Life Heroes, the World Humanitarian Day is celebrated every 19th of August. In Abuja, Benny Adams, NTA News.
This is Nationwide on NTA. Time now to head to Jos, where Caleb will be giving us some reports. Hello, Caleb.
Hello, Elizabeth, and welcome to Jos.
Plateau State Governor Samuel Along says his administration will continue to work assiduously to ensure illicit drug trafficking and drug-related criminality are reduced to the barest minimum in the state. The governor said this at the public destruction of forfeited drug exhibits by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Plateau State Command. Priscilla Grumnan reports.
Governor Lalong, who led other critical key players to set the drugs ablaze, said security challenges such as kidnapping, banditry, armed robbery, cultism and rape, as well as accidents, are associated with illicit drug consumption, hence the need to combat the menace headlong.
I wish to again warn all miscreants and criminal elements that under my watch, Plateau State will remain a no-go area.
We apologize for the bad picture. We hope to go back to Jos later. Moving on, Nigerian universities are fronting for public-private partnership in improving infrastructure in universities across the country. Committee of Vice Chancellors met with Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, on how to drive the implementation. Joshua Ojito reports.
174 universities in Nigeria contributing to the educational development of the country. The decay in infrastructure in some of these universities attracts attention of Committee of Vice Chancellors. While acknowledging government investment in fixing the infrastructure, partnership with private sector, the Committee of Vice Chancellors says will improve infrastructure in universities, thereby providing conducive environment for learning. This engagement between the committee and Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, is to fashion ways of wooing investors.
Universities are looking for public-private partnerships using blended forms of financing to be able to meet some of the challenges that they have. We have fundamental funding challenges in many of the universities at federal and state levels and even at private levels.
So these PPPs we are talking about, what is the plan? Why can we not have a plan? Let us even start just with hostels.
Proper planning for public-private partnership and academic stability in universities are said to be key in attracting investment in the education sector. In Abuja, Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
Still staying with education, ex-students in Kebbi State have applauded the federal government's effort at ensuring that they suffer no setback in the academic calendar as schools reopen for the 2020 WAEC. Abdul Jalil Mohammed Bawa visited some schools in Birnin Kebbi.
Behind me are students taking their first West African examination for the year 2020. This is in compliance with the National Task Force on COVID-19.